Welcome to Center for Spiritual Living in Fullerton.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Please help me read our purpose statement. We are a loving spiritual community, empowering all to live healthy and successful lives through practicing the principles of science of mind. I have some announcements. Today we are celebrating Selma's birthday, 97. We have a virtual book club that is happening tomorrow. The book is called The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. Very interesting book. There is a Zoom available for tomorrow. It's at 7. We still have the unexpected income plan, and we have $10,861.65. So this is only 10% of what the actual amount has been received. We also have a fundraiser, and is this coming Wednesday, the 26th. It is all day. On your flyer, you have the coupon code. If you happen to be by a Panda Express and you forgot the code, you can call the office, but take your coupon with you and you will enjoy the food. We have coming up summertime fun lunch and paint. And it is by Karen Thomas. The cost is $20, the lunch and supplies. It's happening July 11th after service. And we also have an event, which is Sizzling Summer Opportunity Drawing, coming up in August. So if you have any gifts that you would like to donate, please bring them over, so we can enjoy this drawing in August. And of course, prayer request. And now join me in prayer. And as we are here gathered today for this beautiful service, that already is perfect. I know that the loving presence of God is here as I am here. And so is everyone here present or watching online. This presence is the Spirit of God. I call love forth to be here in each one of us, to enjoy and learn today from this service. I am grateful for each one of us here present, for each one of the hands and feet that makes this service already complete. I know this is already so, and so it is.
To be still and let God love me. I need to be still and let God love me. When this old world starts to push and shove me, to be still and let God love me.
Hello again. My name is Eva Castelo. I'm a practitioner here in this beautiful sanctuary. And today I have a reading for you from the letters from Joel Goldsmith, page 253, titled Home. It must become clear to you that as life eternal, you include within yourself the right idea of companionship, friendship, love, and home. Having no qualities underived from deity, you have no traits, characteristics, faults, or habits to overcome, destroy, or change. Indeed, you are now the all-inclusive activity of mind, life, love. This is true of you and of all men. It must be equally evident to you that a collection of boards and bricks, even when formed into a structure called a house, does not make a home. That which makes a home are the qualities of life which we carry into it. Atmosphere makes a home, and atmosphere is created by our thoughts, our consciousness. A joyous home is one expressing the joyous thought and activity of those within its walls. To build the right sense of home, to secure a right home, to demonstrate home, is to begin within yourself. Ask yourself some questions. What qualities must I express that will turn a house into a home? What qualities constitute the ideal home? Soon you will realize that cheerfulness, joyousness, cleanliness, orderliness, brightness, hope, consideration of others, forgiveness, cooperation, beauty, grace, love, etc. These qualities expressed by individuals constitute and form that which makes a home. As you express these in your daily thoughts and acts, you are building within yourself home, and this will externalize itself in what we call our home. Whatever you wish to externalize or experience must first be built within consciousness. Then consciousness constructs a better body, a better home. Thank you. Please join me in prayer. In this present moment, I know God is all there is. God is omnipresent. God is love. I am one with His love, and so is everyone else. Love is the healing power behind a broken heart, a broken home. Love conquers all. Love is patient. Love is kind. I allow love to go with me wherever I go. I become love, and love emanates from me. I claim this to be my truth. I am grateful to Spirit, to God, for this love. I accept my new love nature. I release these words into the action of the loving law. I let it be, and so it is.
All that is good, all that is right, all that is true, justice and light, all that is pure, holy indeed, all that is you, all that I need, all that is good, all that is right, all that is true, justice and light, all that is pure, holy indeed, all that is you, all that I need.
Emily Ryden, Emily and Tommy Cosentino. What a way to start off my morning. How about yours? So, our overarching theme this week, it seems, this month, I'm sorry, is life and love everlasting. And I'm not going to tell you anything new today, because the title of today's talk is A House is Not a Home. But we have two homes, basically, I think. We have that home, that eternal home, that forever, infinite, eternal home that is God, and our place in it is well secured, beyond question, beyond doubt. And we have our home here on this planet. You know, back in the 60s, there was that Burt Bacharach song, A House is Not a Home. And I think Dionne Warwick did that, and Luther Vandross did that some years later, and Ella Fitzgerald, and really everybody who sang anywhere did that song back in that day. But it began, a chair is still a chair, even if nobody's sitting there. Then I went on to say, but a chair is not a house, and a house is not a home. But the fact of the matter is, this chair is still a chair, whether there's somebody in it or whether there is not. But a house truly is not a home. Remember the inadequacies of our language, and don't we often flip-flop words and use them when we maybe shouldn't be? Because, you know, we can have a house and not have a home. Or remember the story about the girl and the family that they had lost their home, and I don't know, you picked the disaster, the flood, the fire, the typhoon, whatever it was. And at the shelter, and somebody says, well, now, wow, we got your family together here. We gotta find you a home. And she said, no, we have a home. What we need right now is another house to put it in. Because isn't that our home? Home's not, like Eva said in her reading. Imagine leaving it to Joel Goldsmith to come up with some sort of metaphysical way of saying that, you know, where we live is not necessarily a home. You know that old saying, home is where the heart is. I mean, that might sound a little funky, I don't know, but still, you get past that, get past the thought of platitude and think, you know what, that is the case. Because we can be anywhere in the world, and we can be at home. Or we can be in the house we live in and not have any sense of home at all, can't we? It's the love that we put into it that makes that happen, that makes it become a home rather than a house. And somebody, probably a country music singer, and that's how this goes, but somebody said, it takes a heap of living to make a house a home. And it does, because what makes that home is the emotion that's put into it. And I don't mean just emotion in, you know, any kind of negative emotion. I'm talking about making memories. I'm talking about the laughter, the crying, the togetherness, the support. All those things that go together, all the things that we associate with family. And that family can be two, or it can be, you know, look at the times we had families that had 16 kids on them. Because they always needed help on the farm, I guess was a reason for that. And above all, home is really a safe place where we can go as we are. It's a place where we can go and be ourselves. We don't have to pretend. We don't have to put that mask on. We don't have to put forth a facade that's really not who we are. When we're at home, in our own skin, in our own bodies, we know it. Don't you know it when you're that? And when you're not, don't you know that also? But I sure do. We get to choose in any circumstance what we want our world to look like. Any circumstance, we get to choose who we're going to be and whether we're going to be at home in that or not. And I know what you're thinking. Gee, Bill, what have you been reading? Any circumstance? Well, pretty much. Because, you know, some of us who came along in life not very long after that WW2 thing, you know, we grew up in that generation where it was still so very much in the consciousness of everybody. I mean, we learned to live under that cloud that the world had just come through. And there was this guy, Viktor Frankl, who came out of the prison camps in Auschwitz and became a psychotherapist and a writer, of course, and speaker, and a very renowned person. And he said, you know, between every response, or every stimulus and every response, and we know that's, the world's like that, right? We just go through that. Stimulus, response, bing, bing, bing. This happens, you do that. This happens, you do that. And he said, between every one of those, there's a little bit of space. That space might be a while, might be several seconds, or might happen right now, but the fact is there's a space and we can learn to stretch that space, and we can learn within that, even though it's a very short space, we got to learn that within that space, that's the time of choice. And we can choose whatever we want. And if our spiritual practice is such that we practice and practice and practice and practice, get in the habit of that response always being coming from love rather than fear, we're going to manifest a much better world. Did the conditions for him and the rest of them change? No, the external conditions, they didn't change at that time, but the way they approached it and the way they assimilated, because really in this plane, this existence, that's what human life is. We have to take everything in, and we have to balance what we term the good and what we term the bad. You know, C.S. Lewis said that suffering is God's megaphone. Okay? Hello? Bill, I need your attention. You are straying from the path of love. You're allowing yourself to get ensconced in fear, and that's what you're coming from. And I don't know what else happens in the world, but I do know that when we respond from fear, things are not going to go well for us. I mean, think about it. I don't care what the circumstance or the event or the situation. When we respond from fear, it does not go well for us. And I don't care what that situation or circumstance is either. When we respond from love, with love, the circumstance is going to become the best that it can. And the best that it can is going to vary. But the fact is, wouldn't we rather have the best that it can than have guaranteed disaster? Coming from fear ain't going to work. Coming from love is. And it's that same love that goes into making that home feeling. Have you ever had that feeling of home when you weren't there? Sometimes. If you're in that frame of mind, if you are in that spiritual practice of always feeling in that love, in that home, in that community, that spirit of giving and sharing and joy and love, we can have that wherever we are. We can have that out in the middle of the desert. What's that saying? Be it ever so humble, there's no place like home. Well, I think that's true. Now, on the other hand, you know, the motivational speakers would say to us, well, be it ever so grand, there's no place as home. And we can have grand. It can be grand. Humble applies to us. We have to be humble enough to accept everything that comes with an attitude and a presence of grace and forgiveness and acceptance. When we do that, we have become that humbleness that we talk about in spiritual circles. So we can be humble in a palace. We can be humble in a mud hut. And we can be loving and caring and together with our home folks, our family, under any of those sets of circumstances. But sometimes, well, lots of times, if we allow that thought of home to slip out of our conscious awareness right now, come on, don't we go out and get caught in the rat race, the trap of life? Back in the middle, God, I can't believe I'm going to say this, in the middle of the last century, which really wasn't that long ago, I guess, but there was this French existential philosopher, Albert Camus, and he wrote lots of famous stuff, and one of the things he wrote about was called the myth of Sisyphus. And I don't know about today, but there was a day when that was required reading somewhere, I don't remember, high school or college or something, but it was required reading because the moral of it was so great. And they weren't trying to impress upon us to become absurdists or existentialists or nihilists or anything like that. They just wanted us to really get a picture of what life could be about. But Sisyphus was this guy who had, well, he had not endeared himself to the gods. Gods, remember, way back in the day. So they, by way of punishment, they doomed him forever to be pushing this big giant stone up a mountain. And as soon as he got to the top of the mountain, the stone would roll back down. And he'd go back down the mountain, push that stone back up again, and he was doomed to do this for eternity. Sometimes that's not much different from what we do daily. And Camus, of course, said that in spite of this, there was an opportunity for happiness for Sisyphus. There was that brief moment when he hit the top, hit the pinnacle. There he was, happy. He had accomplished his purpose. And then, gets to do that all over again. Now that moment of happiness, of course, wasn't anywhere near as long as the time it took to push that stone back up the hill. But we could have it the other way, couldn't we? We can make the choice to not push that stone, to not fall into that. We can make the choice to take that moment of happiness and fulfillment and that grand inner feeling of accomplishment and having done our purpose, and we can make that last for always. Or at least we can make that the preponderance of our time and our thoughts and our feelings, and let the pushing up the hill only, be like that somehow. And we can do that, again, by making that choice to be doing everything we do in the spirit of love and community. And when we do that, it doesn't matter what our task is. So somebody says, well, what's my purpose in life? Do we have only one purpose in life? I don't know. Yeah, we could argue about that for hours. But the fact is, you might fulfill your purpose in life 12 times a day before lunch. Might have been a smile at somebody who, unbeknownst to you, really needed a smile right then. Might have been a kind word to somebody, unbeknownst to you, that really needed a kind word right then. But if we get in the habit of leading with that love, giving that kind word, giving that smile, giving that presence, that when we feel it, is there any question in our mind, when you're in front of somebody who's dealing from that essential love, that God-given love that is channeled through each of us, don't you just know it? You can just feel it. So when we get into practice of coming from that all the time, we're at home wherever we are. And whoever is near us, whoever is within our sphere of influence at any given time, feels at home in our presence. What a great way to be. Wouldn't we love to stay there forever? I don't want to push that rock up the hill. I want to live in that glow, that feeling. Remember, I think we talked about last week or the week before that we have this mistaken belief that dominion over the creatures of the sky and the earth means that we just have to exert our raw, unbridled power upon this planet take from it what we want in the spirit of our ongoing consumerism and affluenza illness. But real power isn't that. Real power is not domination. Real power is sensible use. Dominion, remember, includes stewardship. It includes responsibility. The real power is the power of love. Huey Lewis. Who remembers Huey Lewis? Doesn't everybody sing about the power of love some way or other? We all talk about that. And sometimes I think we do it by rote. We don't really stop to think about what it is we're saying, and sometimes we don't stop and do what it is we're saying. You know, we have, sometimes I think we have this this culture of wearing busy as a badge of honor. Don't we do that? Wearing busy as a badge of honor. Who's got a to-do list? Come on, be honest. We all have a to-do list. And we have to take care of those things on that list. But that should not be the entirety of our day. What we should be making every day is a to-be list. To be joyful, to be friendly, to be spiritual, to be healthy, to be loving, accepting, forgiving, to be all those things, all those God qualities that we were created with, and sometimes kind of buried under like this earthquake full of stuff to do. And when we live like that, when we practice more of what to be rather than just what to do, our true self comes through. And it radiates out forth from us. And then we are living in love, and it's that living in love that creates the home that we can't get from any other way of getting it. And it works on everything. Now there's a story, and I don't know it's true, but I'm going to insist it is. And it's about the guy surveying out the land out in the farm country. And yes, you know, we know how the story goes. He's out in the field, surveying the field, and oh, by the way, there's a bull over in the corner of the field. Well, the bull sees him and comes rushing over, and all his helpers, you know, grab their stuff, and they run and they bail over the fence. This guy doesn't see him in time, and he can't get away. He thinks, well, I can't make it to the fence. So he just stood there and looked at the bull. And the bull is charging him. And pretty soon as it gets closer, it slows down, and it slows down, and it slows. And finally it just stops. Shakes his head a little bit and just turns and walks away. Back to grazing where he was. And the helpers come back and they say, wow, what happened there? He says, well, I knew I couldn't get away. He says, so what I did was I just sat here and I sent this bull a message that said, I love you. You are part of the same planet that I am. I come from love, you come from love. We are brothers in love. And we live together, and we can function well by each of us doing what's ours to do without hurting the other. He said, that's why the bull stopped, because it just felt that love emanating from this surveyor guy. So like I say, I don't know if it's true. I'm certain it is. I'm certain that could work. I want to leave you with just one last story. I want to talk about Johnny Lingo. seems that there was an anthropologist who was traveling the Pacific Islands, and he got to this little group of islands, and on the main island, staying at the little hotel he was staying at, the guy that owned that was an American from Chicago, and he said, if you want anything, these islands, anything at all, you got to talk to Johnny Lingo. That wasn't his name, but this guy had this habit of Americanizing. You know how Americans do, we Americanize things, much to our chagrin usually. So anyway, he says, if you want anything, you got to see Johnny Lingo. He knows the best spot to fish, the best spot to hunt, the best spot to dive. He knows how to get anything. He's the best negotiator in these islands. He's young, but he's by far the richest person around because he's such a shrewd negotiator, and he guarantees, you know, win-win for everybody. I says, oh, okay, so I'm an anthropologist. I need to meet this guy. And as he travels around to find out how to get to the other island where Johnny Lingo is, everybody he talks to, and he mentions Johnny Lingo, they say they've got this reverence in their voice, but also a little mockery. And finally he's talking to one guy, and he says, yeah, I just got to get over to see Johnny Lingo. And he said, oh yeah, Johnny Lingo, he knows everything. He knows everybody. He can do anything. And then he chuckles. And the guy beside him laughs, Johnny Lingo, yeah. And he says, well, you know what, I don't understand. If Johnny Lingo is all this great, why do you mock him? Why do you laugh at him like that? He said, Johnny Lingo, he was the kind. And then the fall festival 5 or 6 months ago, it was a habit there of when a young man wanted to take a bride, he had to make a gift offering to the father. He said he gave 8 cows for his bride. The anthropologist thinks, well, I don't know a lot. I know 2 or 3 cows is pretty standard. That gets you fair to middling wife. And 4 cows, man, that's something to talk about. 8 cows? Yeah, he says, and she was like, she said, she must have been really beautiful. I said, no, she was like kind of, you'd be doing a kindness to call her plain. You know, she's all stooped over, hunched over, and she never smiles, and she's always looking down, and she's a bitter personality. She said, and everybody knows that he could have had her for 1 cow. I mean, old Sam over there, he was going to mention 3, you know. So when you tried to negotiate the 2, he'd know at least you'd give 1 cow, and this would be a done deal. He says, man, he said, I got to meet this guy. So he gets his ride over to the little island where Johnny Lingo is, and Johnny hears he's looking for him, invites him into his place, and they're chatting. And he says, oh, he says, you come from the big island? He says, yeah. He says, my wife came from that island. He said, yeah, so I heard. And just about this time, in walks the wife. Just an absolute picture of beauty. Glowing, beautiful, lovely, statuesque, tall with a tilt to the chin and a twinkle in the eyes. And she just sets a thing of flowers down, and she turns and walks away and says, hi, nice to meet you. And Johnny Lingo says, what do you think about my wife? And the guy says, man, this is not the wife you got over there. You know, what have you done? He says, yes, that is Sitari, that is my wife. 8 cows. He says, I know, I heard that over there. He said, oh, you knew that I gave 8 cows? He says, yeah. He said, everybody on the island knows it. Everybody's talking about it. He says, yeah, they're all talking about it here too. He says, ain't it great? And the anthropologist says, well, it is. But she is not how they described her to me. He said, oh, she's exactly what she is. He said, you know, I've loved her ever since I was a child from a distance, and I knew that someday I was going to marry her. But she got treated so poorly at home. You know, she was just kind of downtrodden and defeated. He said, you know, when the island wives get together and they brag about how many cows their dad got for them, yeah, they're going to be talking about 3 cows, 4 cows. He says, but right now everybody forever is going to remember 8 cows. He said, you know what? I wanted an 8-cow wife. And I wanted her to never, ever think that she was a 1-cow person. And shouldn't we do that to everybody? Everybody we meet, let's have an 8-cow wife and an 8-cow husband. Let's have 8-cow daughters and sons. Let's have 8-cow brothers and sisters and friends. Let's make a world of 8-cow people. Because if we make each other worth 8 cows, we're each going to respond to that. And we're going to become 8-cow people, even if we didn't seem like it at first. So let's just shower each other with love and make wherever we are our home, and forget about the house. We don't need it. Let's just take this into prayer, because here's what I know. I know that in that home that is God, in that one place where we forever, eternally, infinitely dwell, that we are 8-cow people. We are treated with that honor and that respect and that love, bringing forth that joy and the beauty and the radiance that comes from us, that fills our hearts, fills our souls, and fills, yes, even our bodies, because there's so much of it involved in us. We are love. We come from love. We come with love. We come to love. Let's do that. Let's let that be our purpose. Let that be our to-do list, our to-be list, to be that love that God intended for us to be from the very second we became a thought in the mind of God. When we do this and we share this love, we'll make this world such a better place. It will become a world that works for everyone. Because when love is the rule of the day, it has to work for everyone. There can be no one left out. There can be no wants, needs, or desires, because love fulfills them all. And when we are that love and we give that love and we live in that love, what a beautiful world that would be. So I just, with a grateful heart, thank you, God. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for putting me here with the ability to love those that I meet. I just release this word into that law of the universe, that law that knows only to say yes to my every demand. And I say, give me love. Give me love and more love. Thank you, God. And so it is. Let me just say that we all know that all of our good comes from that one source, God, and for this we are eternally grateful. And let's just know that we bless these gifts, these tithes, these offerings, knowing they are given from the central core of who we are, which is God made manifest on this plane. We send them forth to do their good work in this world. So
inside. I am not my age. I am not my race. My soul inside is all light. I am light. Light, I am light. I am light, I am light. I am light, I am
Emily Reisling again, and Tommy Cosentino. And you're right, you are light. And if that soul spring rendition didn't light you up, we need to talk. So, today, I know we sing happy birthday on the first Sunday of every month. We're going to sing it again today. Guess why? Miss Selma, Sweet 97. Are you ready?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Selma. Happy birthday to you.
Meanwhile, let's just go together. Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
It's happening in my mind.
It's happening in my mind.
Happening in my body.
It's happening in my body.
It's happening in my heart.
And it's happening in my heart.
It's this thing called love.
It's this thing called love.
It will happen in my affairs
It will happen in my affairs
as I go forth
as I go forward
to love this world.
to love this world.
I'm happy